Trinity Rodman is an absolute soccer superstar, player for the Washington Spirit in the NWSL, and the NWSL has a crisis at the moment. We'll see where this is going to go, but this is a big deal. The Washington Spirit Stadium, Audi Field, it has this reputation like some other places, like Seattle, like Philly for the Union, for being loud, like Kansas City, for being loud, for being one of the loudest arenas in the league. Fans roar every goal, every call, every tackle that's in their favor. And of course, that all goes to a next level when Trinity Rodman gets on the ball. And yet, now they're in negotiations. The league has been brought into negotiations because of Trinity's contract, because of the salary cap issue. It is likely, it is possible, I should say possible, not necessarily likely, that she moves on and goes to play over in Europe. Her contract negotiation have actually landed on the commissioner's desk, the NWSL, and now they face maybe their biggest decision yet. It's, do they keep the current salary cap, or they retain a generational talent who was also generational in terms of her superstardom? She puts butts in the seats, and now everyone is watching what is going on. And as one person tweeted out, Aaron West said, this recent exodus of some of NWSL's biggest stars has to be a wake up for the league that the cap is pitifully low compared to how women's football is progressing around the globe and specifically Europe. Now, here is the problem with that. Here's what I want to get into. This is what MLS has had to deal with, and this may be the future for the NWSL now that there is women's soccer is growing around the league in the club in the on the club side of things. And of course, they have an advantage because they have much more of a soccer culture over there in Europe, and you've got the big clubs, the big men's clubs getting involved in women's soccer and having women's with the women's clubs, obviously Chelsea and Arsenal on all that. And so there's also a lot more money involved, and these players can get paid a lot more. And that is, let's face it, attractive to a lot of the players in NWSL. This idea of playing in Europe, right? Playing for these iconic clubs and making more money doing so. The problem is, as this one person, the tweet that I just read, the problem with it, and I said this before, is the NWSL doesn't have the structure, the fan base, the support of a huge men's club in order to match the salaries that are over in Europe. And so the NWSL now, which has been a trailblazer for women's soccer, it's where all the stars came because it just simply there was no other place around the world. It is very much in danger of becoming the MLS of women's soccer. And what I mean by that is because of the constraints in terms of salary. It's not even that there's a salary cap, it's that it's so low because of the situation in America for soccer compared to everywhere else. That is what's at issue. It's not, I see a lot of people complaining, oh, the NWSL has to pay her and they have to do this with salaries and they have to do that. And it's just not, there's also the reality of the economic situation for being a professional soccer league in America. The MLS is facing with that. And that is why they simply cannot match these other leagues. Just think about it. If MLS drew the eyeballs and you could pay better than EPL and Bundesliga and all that, you would have all of those players would be playing MLS. That is simply how it works. But the NWSL cannot make that happen right now. Now, will they try and find a way to make an exception the way we see with MLS and, players like Lionel Messi, for example? Is that how they're going to handle that? And then that's what they do with Trinity Rodman. And then, of course, what happens from there with other players? And it becomes an interesting dynamic and an interesting situation. And then a lot of people look, and I'm not saying she should do this, but a lot of people might look and say, hey, you know what? Is there some responsibility for players like Trinity Rodman to stay home and help grow this league when it is America that has put women's soccer on the map, when it is America that has really been at the forefront, that has allowed what has happened around the globe for in the women's game? That is happening because of what has happened in America, because of what the American players have gone through, since the national team was formed back in the 80s and all that all stems from the U.S. women's national team, and then trying to develop multiple club professional leagues and so forth, all failing within 5 years until we got to the NWSL, which is, blasted past that point. But monetarily, right now, it just is not going to be able to compete with overseas. So that may be a talent drain from this league. And then the NWSL kind of becomes like MLS, which would be a real shame for women's soccer in America. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Do you think Trinity is going to make that move? Do you think they're going to find an exception in a way to pay her more, because I don't see how they can bump up all of the salary caps. I just don't know if that's sustainable at this moment. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do me a favor and smash the like button. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. My goal is 1,000 subscribers for this channel. Hopefully you can help me out with that, and I will talk to you in the next video.